Hello, everybody. This is our weekly preview for actually about a week and a half, October 4th through October 15th. Um, Students will be reading their last short story for the short story unit, and they will be reading, discussing, analyzing, writing about the short story All Summer in a Day by Ray Bradbury. Before we jump into that, though, I just want to show a couple of resources that could be useful to you, the parent, and are necessary for your students. So if you go into the week by week agenda slash October, I'm sorry, comma October, you'll see that actually both the September and October agendas are up. So we'll go into this. And this is where you can go and see specifically what we did every single day in class. If there are major changes to this, I will make those changes. If there's just minor changes that I make to meet student needs, I don't always make those. But if your student is absent, this is where they need to go, because yes, they can look on Google Classroom, but sometimes we do things in our interactive notebooks, or sometimes we do things that are not necessarily in Google Classroom, and so your students need to come here to see what they missed. It tells what we did for our Start Strong, which students do not need to make up, and then it tells what we did through the body of the class. Um, it tells the materials we used and the homework they had. So this is vitally important. If your student misses class, this is where they need to come. Another important resource is if you come under QT slash extended absence, you'll see a link to my YouTube channel. Right now, it's specifically for my playlist on how-to videos, which walks students through how to do specific assignments and activities in my class. But I have several playlists, content playlists, and also videos on how-to videos for parents even. Another thing that might be interesting to parents is under data, I have something called individual writing scores. And basically, this is what I've been using to communicate to your students their score, how they're doing in writing. So you can open up your individual students' scores. These have a due date of pretty much never, because this is not an assignment for them to do. This is a communication tool for me to use with them and with you. And so it has the pieces that we've written and the dates that either they were assigned or due. And then it has we have a long writing inventory, which is more like an essay. And then we have a short writing inventory, which is more like an extended response or a paragraph. So this is the short writing inventory. These are the things I'm assessing your students on. And then this is the key. It's scoring from a 5 to a 10. We'll talk about that again, but do remember that I score from a 5 to a 10. You cannot score less than a 5 in my class, but a 5 is an F. A 5 is no bueno. So keep that in mind. But you can look at this at any time. And just if you have any questions, you can always reach out. Another thing that parents might find useful is just a quick reminder on under expectations and procedures. I do have my the syllabus, the course overview, but my grading policy. Let's talk about grading policy. So two main things that I think will really help families. One, I do not grade in Google Classroom. And the reason for that is because students can mark things that are as done that are not done. And then you as a parent don't know they're not done. So it's not an incredibly reliable communication tool. So I just don't grade in Google Classroom. However, I have to make things an assignment if I want to give your children each a copy electronically of that item. So, and I often will grade it electronically through Google Classroom, but it's more like my in basket than it is my grade book. It is not my grade book. So, if you want to see how your student is doing, you just need to go into Parent View. And I take great pains to name the assignment in Parent View what it is in Google Classroom in case you have a question. But again, sometimes we do things that are not in Google Classroom. Synergy/Parent View is where you need to go to check grades. The other issue, or not issue, just the other thing to remind you of is that I grade on a scale of 5 to 10, as I was just mentioning. So a 10, your students are not going to get a ton of 10s, especially at the beginning of the year, because that means that they're performing at mastery above grade level. and at the at the seventh grade level or above. So as the year goes on, more and more students will start to get some tens. Nines are wonderful. It's exactly what you want. That's right on grade level. And again, this is all standards based grading. I'm going by how is your student doing, meeting the standard that I'm supposed to teach, right? And then an 8 is that's still really good. It's a B, they're nearing proficient. A 7 is, you know what, they're getting close, right? It's still passing. A D is they need more help on this. It's a D, not great, but it is passing. But a 5 means they didn't do it. It's an F. It's not good. So if you see a 5, if you see your students getting a lot of 5s and you're thinking, "Oh, well, that's not great, but it's not horrible," it actually means they're not doing the work. So 5s are no completion. So, um, okay, one more last thing on just procedures. If your students remember that I accept late work for up to 10 days. Sometimes if the grading window closes before that, there's not 10 days, but I accept late work for 10 days. Um, and without any penalty, no points off. However, I don't get notification when students do things on Google Classroom if they do it late. So if a student does something late, they just need to complete this late work form. And I check that at least 3 times a week. And that allows me to check their work. Um, but if they don't complete this late work form, and then I won't know it's done and I won't know to grade it. So I remind them of that all the time. So hopefully, but just a reminder to you. Okay, well, not last and not least, um, is the weekly Being and Quill. Remember, parents, that students need to do Being and Quill every single week. It's about regular practice. I do give time in class, but not the full 45 minutes of Being. I don't give that much time in class. However, I still have some students who are not doing any Being or just regularly not doing all their Being. So just a reminder, Being costs $3 for the year. And if you need a scholarship for whatever reason, not a big deal. Just have your student let me know. Um, and if you don't need a scholarship, you can just pay directly online through their account. And Quill's totally free. Students need to pass 2 lessons a week. This week's a short week. We only have 3 days. Then we have fall break. So because this is a short week, sometimes I will make it so that they have to do less Being or Quill. This week, I'm just allowing them to have the option to do extra credit. So if students want to get some extra credit, they can do their regular 45 minutes of Being and 2 lessons of Quill. And if they do that, they will get extra credit next Monday, the 11th, I believe. Okay. So now let's get into actually what the students are doing this week. They're going to be reading a short story called All Summer in the Day. We're going to continue talking about mood and tone, which is something we talked about. We started last week on Friday, and mood being how a reader feels about something, and the tone being how the author feels about something. Students will also be working in their interactive notebooks, doing which they leave in class. They'll be creating academic questions about the stories, and of course they'll be answering questions too, but actually creating questions is a very important skill. So they'll be doing that. And they'll also be doing the question formulation technique. Again, that's in their interactive notebook, and they've done this before. Um, all right. I think that's it. And I apologize for this video being so long, but again, it is for 2 weeks. So hopefully that is okay. And have a great day. And please reach out with any questions at all. Bye.